Good afternoon. My name is Chris Adam with Youth Pledge for Employers, and I'm delighted to be joined by Faisal, the Commercial Head of Site and Development. Hello there, Faisal.
Good afternoon, Chris. How are you doing, sir? You well?
Yes, I'm not too bad. Thank you for giving up your time to speak to me this afternoon.
Of course.
I guess my start for 10 question has to be, one, what does Commercial Head of Site and Development mean? And two, can you tell me a little bit about Netmatters and what it is you do?
Of course I can. So I am the commercial head of our award-winning developer training program called the Scion Coalition Scheme, therefore Scion Development. The Scion Coalition Scheme was something that we began about 6.5, 7 years ago. I'll go on to that in a bit more detail later on, but I suppose in an answer to your first question, that's where the Scion Development comes from. Back to the second question. So Netmatters is a full-service digital agency. We have 4 offices in the UK. One is in Galston, which is close to Great Yarmouth, the other in Wyndham, another office in Cambridgeshire, as well as a new office that opened about 6-8 weeks ago in London. As a full service digital agency, we specialize in a range of different techie type offerings. It begins with, we develop websites and software for various different organizations. We are also an IT support and service provider. We do digital marketing, which we provide as a service to our clientele, as well as telecoms and connectivity. So when I say full service, it's all the techie type stuff. Netmatters has been established now 15 years, I believe, this year, back in 2008. We are a staff complement of just over 120 at the moment, but consistently growing. Ever since our inception, we've been growing at a rate of about 20 to 30% year on year,
Wow.
which has been really good for us, even through the COVID years as well. But I suppose that's showing in the current economic climate where tech firms are growing from strength to strength. I suppose it's more down to the fact that I think people have just come to realize how important their tech actually is. So everything from your business and how you place yourself online, because so much business has gone online since COVID, to the way you market the business as an organization, your telecom system, giving your staff members the ability to connect, your laptops, your systems that allow us to do these types of video calls. So I think with all of those niches and with all of those pieces to the puzzle, it sort of springboarded us into where we are today.
That's amazing. And you talked about, you touched on some of the different sort of tech services that the agency offers and sort of, the numbers of staff within. Can you just maybe give me a breakdown of some of the different roles you have within the organization who facilitate those different offerings?
Yeah. So if we split it against the industries, so from a software side of things or software web side of things, we have everything from junior web developers to mid-level to senior, and then systems architects. We also have a project management team that complements that. So the project managers within our organization almost are the go-to between clients and tech and the technician. So either the software developer will speak to the project manager, who will liaise directly with the client, and the client will do the same and liaise with the project manager, who will then feed that back to the development team. They are just the go-to, really, or the man in the middle connecting those two parties. Similar to that with IT support, we have first, second, third line IT technicians. We also have various different team leaders that run the different pods or teams within the department itself. They too are also complemented by project managers. I may as well be forthright and saying that project managers are within each of the industry sectors, because they are, as alluded to previously, they're the middlemen. They make sure that all the techie type stuff comes across layman's to the client, and all the layman's thing that comes in from the client goes to the technical aspects of it, to the technicians, web developers, telecoms, guys and gals. The further from there, we do have a range of business development executives. We have telemarketers, we have HR department, we have finance, we have administration, we have operations. So yeah, it's quite a big outfit. We have grown steadily over the last few years, as alluded to earlier, but it's only because the great staff that we have, and I suppose everyone within the business has a hat to wear, and they wear quite well.
That's really interesting to hear, and it's really sort of interesting, as I say, to hear the roles sort of broken down and a little bit of the process. And I think actually sometimes people think, as you say, because it's become sort of ever present in our daily lives, how much tech is a part of it, and how much it's growing and how it's growing as an industry, that sometimes actually maybe you forget that organizations such as yourselves have HR departments, have
Yeah,
a require admin, if you see what I mean. I think sometimes people maybe see maybe sort of the technician roles, if you see what I mean. They think, okay,
yeah.
that's going to be 99% of that organization, whereas actually it's not, as you say. It has many different cogs and people in, as you've described. And sort of looking at that, if we sort of maybe to look at a sort of an outward perception of working for organisations such as Netmatters, as I say, I think a lot of people are aware that sort of tech is a growth area, and as you
Yeah.
say, more things than ever sort of being done digitally and going online. What kind of skills does someone need to sort of succeed in organisations such as this? Because I think a lot of young people, as I say, have never been more surrounded by technology, as I say, from a young age. And we'll see all kinds of different, whether it be websites or different versions of technology as they grow up. What kind of skills do they actually need to succeed within the sector?
Great question, Chris. I think it's quite an open question in a sense that you'd probably need a different skill set for every aspect of our business. IT technicians do a lot of problem solving in terms of trying to troubleshoot what errors one may have within their systems or their IT infrastructure as a business. On the web development side, it's a keen interest in coding. It's the solving the puzzle, the piecing everything together, the making sure that it's quite the attention to detail is key in a lot of what we do. On a digital marketing front, it's more a case of getting yourself out there, trying to understand what makes the consumer tick. Because as a business, you maybe want more leads, you want more inquiries, you're trying to get your brand awareness further out there to the masses or more people, or you're just looking to increase the brand awareness of the organization so more people know about you. If you go down the e-commerce route, people that are selling online, it all then does circle back to you trying to identify what the specific clientele are looking for. If you look at the various different sites online, each of them are slightly tweaked to ensure that they are a right fit for who they're trying to attract back to them. If I may, it's if you look at Amazon, for instance, they've done a really good job in what they do. I mean, they're a huge organization, but their user journey, taking a person from the product down to the order, is really streamlined. All the information you require is there, so it makes it easier for the user to make that purchase. If you're looking at a law firm or solicitors, a lot of people want to actually see the people or the bios of the lawyers or the solicitors that are handling them or handling their cases. I suppose that's to vouch for the fact that they know what they're doing, or they could possibly see testimonials from other clientele that they've helped previously, which I suppose human psychology will always tell you if you've done right, if they've done right by you, they'll do right by me. People tend to look at reviews a lot nowadays because, again, it's more just to understand that whether or not the company's doing what they say they'll do, and if they've delivered for previous clients. Because that then means if you got a review one day and say the painter and decorator came to my property, left it in an absolute state, didn't do the cutting in properly, everything was really dirty or really messy, I'm not going to want to allow them into my house. But on the flip side of that, if they were clean, they were on time, the job was perfect, you already automatically in your mind are thinking, this is the company I want to use. So I suppose in an answer to your question, I know there was a bit of around the houses. Um, each job, and regardless what that is, if it was the business development side of things where it's not necessarily salesy, it's more consultative approach, where our business development guys will go in, sit down with an organization, speak to them, and try to find out what their end goals and objectives are. I think for us that's really important because we work on a premise is we don't sell, we solve. So we're solving a problem for a company rather than selling them a solution. It's really important for us. Netmatters work on strict company values or true values, as we like to call them. And it is the gauge and it is the reason why we do what we do. We stand by that and we'll continuously do that in every aspect of the business. But first and foremost, what we look for more than anything else is people with a passion and a desire to learn. We do have a developer training program, hence the Scion development role that I hold. But it's really important for us to ensure that we get the right people on board. If you get the right people, Chris, you can pretty much train them anything. You just can't get them out of bed in the morning. You can't make them want to do it. So it's really just a case for us to ensure that we find the right people, we give them the right tools in order to make themselves a success, therefore, or thereby making us successful as well.
I really find that really interesting, and I love the idea to solve rather than to sell. I think that's a really great approach, and everything you discussed there paints a really personable approach as well, a really customer person focused approach. And for someone maybe looking to get into the sector, there are very old bad stereotypes about sort of working in tech, working IT, aren't there? And as I say, everything you've said there completely contradicts that. And as you say, for the right kind of people you're looking for, I take it's probably more important there that they have those soft skills, an ability to be able to communicate, as you say, build rapport, be understanding, so, you know, is there any truth in those old stereotypes within certain roles like technicians or something like that? Or would you say across Netmatters as a whole, it's really important, as you say, to have all of those sort of really personable values?
100%. Unbelievably so, because you are the face of our organization when you leave our doors. If you're attending a site for whatever reason, if you're going on to a site meeting to discuss a web development project with the client, if you're going on to do network cabling at an office, you are representing us. So it's really important that throughout the company, from top to bottom, from the lady in reception to my managing director, we all have a role to play. And we all need to be singing off the same hymn sheet. I think if you look at Netmatters online, you'll find that we have amazing reviews, and it's testament to what we do as a business. Very often, almost daily, we'll get feedback from clients about specific technicians, developers, project managers, digital marketeers, saying how well they've done, how they've assisted them in coming into the business and changing, not necessarily changing the way they're doing things, but improving upon it, making it more efficient, therefore making the organization more profitable. With more money, companies are able to grow. They're able to take on more staff. Having more staff on board and being able to pay them changes lives for those and their families. So it's not only just a case of we coming into your business, we're going to build you a website, we're going to get you more leads, more inquiries, make it easier for your staff to work, but in turn, help your business grow, therefore bridging the skills gap, assisting with unemployment. There's a range of different things that filter down from that, but at the core of what we do is to stick to our values.
It's really sort of just warming nice to hear about sort of, as I say, the passion you have in those values. And what's your favorite thing about working in the sector?
It's ever changing. There's no days are ever the same. I mean, for my role personally, I do quite a lot of the operational side of things. I do a multitude of interviews, various different things with both individuals and organizations. Part of the courses that we run is the technical training programs. I'm working with the Department for Work and Pensions and local job centers. We have a contract with the DFE, so the Department for Education, doing the skills boot camps. We're also doing a young person's training program, or sorry, study program with central training. So it's all of these facets that assist us, not only in terms of bolstering our own ranks, making sure that we have sufficient staff and well taught staff, but we also do training for other organizations. So to try to help them in their businesses move that step forward.
Fantastic. It's been really insightful to talk to you. And I know I say you've touched on the program there, and I know we're going to end this video by you showing a video describing the program. Is there anything you'd like to say in advance of the video, maybe just to sort of explain about sort of, what it shows?
Of course. We run an award-winning technical training program called the Scion Coalition Scheme. From that, we've also birthed the web developer skills boot camps that are funded by the Department for Education. And we also do a young person study program, which is a collaboration with CTG, which is the Central Training Group. The premise of the training itself is to take people that have a passion for tech, train them up and get them into work or onto their next step, be that an apprenticeship, further education. But each of the programs that we run all follow a similar vein. The courses are designed to allow you to work autonomously. So you don't need the help of anyone, but we have developers, project managers, marketeers, all on hand to assist as and when required. The course itself is designed in order to bring each of the students on gradually. So when you come to us day one, I'm not going to say, okay, build me Amazon. I first need to teach you the basics of the coding language, which will then allow you to understand it fully and then put into practice what you've learned by doing a reflection or an assessment of that specific subject or language. I think for us, that's been really powerful because through the course or through the journey, you are then able to have those snippets or projects visible on your own online portfolio. Now, for any developer, for any digital marketeer, if you can walk into an interview and visibly or showcase exactly what you've done, it's absolute gold for any employer. Because it's all good and well, you can say on your CV, oh, I built the website. But if you can show me the website and I can use the website, it's so much more important for companies because immediately their HR manager, their interviewer, is going to be placing you within their organization. Well, this is Chris. He's a mid-level developer. He can develop WordPress website and he also does a bit of marketing. He'll fit perfectly in there.
Fantastic, brilliant. Thank you for setting up and explaining that to me. I'll jump off screen now and let you play the video. Thank you.
No worries. Chris, before you leave, sir, thank you very much for your time. I really do appreciate it. And for anyone out there, if they do feel the need to get in contact with us, the company is Netmatters, Netmatters. Google us, search us up online, and get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gaining entry to the tech industry is not easy, and one of the biggest barriers to getting your first job is not having the relevant qualifications or experience to secure even the most junior of roles in the industry. The Netmatters Silent Coalition scheme hopes to combat this problem by allowing anyone with no formal training or background in development to join this industry and never look back, all within 6 months. Who can apply for the course? The answer is basically anyone. There is no arbitrary entry requirements. We are simply looking for the following. Someone who has a passion for tech, perhaps has built a website or dabbled in coding, perhaps you've created a game mod or you're just fascinated by coding in general. Someone who is willing to work hard during their training phase, and someone who enjoys new challenges and wants to succeed. This course is delivered remotely, with you needing to work from your home. You approach the course as if you are employed full-time. You train for 40 hours per week, just like a job, and you must adhere to all normal conditions expected in an employed role. We also offer this course as a part-time option, but it still requires all the discipline of work. You book your holiday and report sickness as if employed, and you are very much responsible for yourself as if you were employed. As you are progressing through the course, you are given appraisals and small projects to work on either independently or within groups. The Scions work together, and those who have been on the course longer will help new trainees. This helps both parties, as being able to discuss and explain your code is a key part of being a developer. Plus, it helps solidify the knowledge that you've gained during the course. You work from a training project where you are given tasks to complete and expected to log your time against each task. The tasks are structured to gradually bring you along and increase your understanding through instructional videos and practical coding exercises. There are practical challenges, group challenges, and real-life development scenarios to keep your day varied and challenging. All of your work is reviewed by a senior developer who gives constructive feedback and support to help you become a great developer yourself in as little time as possible. As your understanding increases, the difficulty and scope of tasks also increases to keep you learning at a rapid pace. After around 3 months of foundation training, your tasks can be adjusted to reflect the areas you enjoy the most or perhaps the industry that you want to get into. You then continue to train at your own pace until you reach a point of technical understanding that would make you a viable candidate for a junior role within your chosen field. At this point, the course focuses solely on securing the role that you want. CVs are created and mock interviews conducted with the sole objective of securing you that first tech role. We keep working with you until you secure your first position. One of our current Scions, Rebecca, was kind enough to lend me some of the time in her busy day training in order to let me know what she thinks about the Scion scheme.
So I think I'm on week 7 or thereabouts.
Mhm.
And I know it's quite a short amount of time, but I feel like I've learned so much already. Yeah, so I'm working on my first project, which is the HTML and CSS reflection.
Mhm.
So what I'm essentially doing is creating a duplicate of the Netmatters homepage.
And you've learned all of this since you've been started the course 7 weeks ago?
I have, yes. Yeah, I knew very little HTML and CSS before then, a tiny bit, but I wouldn't have been able to build this, that's for sure.
Sure.
I'm only 7 weeks into the course, but I've already learned so much, and I can see that by the time I leave the course, I will have acquired so much new information, and hopefully be ready to go into work.
I am absolutely sure you will, honestly. The course boasts a 95% success rate of those completing the course who are now employed and progressing in their roles within the tech industry. Some of these graduates have even quickly climbed to roles such as senior developer. We have been awarded the Princess Royal Training Award for 2020. The PRTA stands the Scion Coalition scheme among industry giants like IBM, Serco, Royal Mail, and Santander. I was fortunate enough to speak to a former Scion, Steph, about his experience on the course, and this is what he had to say.
Nearly all the work I do now is a combination of Laravel and Vue. So Laravel's PHP, setting up all the users, then setting up all the properties for the users, and then all the related elements for the properties. And yeah, it's great. It's really fun. As soon as you feel like you've got to grips with something, suddenly you realize that there's a whole set of new things around this thing, which it's just always changing. There's always new developments and new updates that need to be learned, and I can wholeheartedly say I would rather be working hard at something complicated than being bored. I think I had 2 pay rises within a couple of months of each other.
Sounds good.
Yeah, which is great. It's so I mean I'm already on more money now than I've ever earned in my life. It's been progressing very well, and yeah,
Awesome.
definitely happy where I am now.
Glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear it. Last question of the day. Would you recommend the Scion course to anyone who's interested in joining the industry?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would definitely recommend the course. It's I feel super lucky to have found it.
There are many routes to secure a position on this course. The course is either funded through the Job Centre or other sponsorship. All you need to do is either apply directly through our website, netmatters.co.uk, or make an inquiry to your Job Centre work coach to check if you may be eligible for Job Centre funding. My name's Jordan, and I'm a Scion currently in the final stages of the Scion Coalition scheme. I already have a job in sight for when I graduate, and I highly recommend the course to anyone who's interested. This is a great first step into the tech industry.